Northwest Focus is produced by KWPX, an affiliate of Ion Media Networks. Go to www.iontelevision.com to find out more about Ion Television.
You know, there's people out there, like me, that really love animals, and there's people out there that don't necessarily care for them. But there's research that shows that the companionship between animals and humans can be beneficial. Welcome to Northwest Focus. I'm Erin Michael, your host. Joining me is Mia. She's very bored by this. We're here at Pet Partners today talking with Rachel Wright. She's the program director. She's going to tell us more about the Pet Partners program and about the human-animal bond. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for having us here at Pet Partners to talk more about what the program does. So if you could start off by telling us about Pet Partners, how it got started, that would be really great.
Sure. Pet Partners was founded in 1977, and it was founded by a veterinarian and a psychiatrist. And basically, it was founded to look at the research around the human-animal bond. What they were both seeing in their practices was that many of their clients were benefiting from their relationships with their animals. And so they wanted to learn more about that. So they founded the organization, then called Delta Society, to do research around the benefits of the human-animal bond. And then as the organization took off, they decided in 1990 to start what was then called the Pet Partners Program, now the Therapy Animal Program. Mm-hmm. And that's the first national program of its kind to have national standards for animal-assisted activities and therapy.
So essentially for 20-some years, it was really just about figuring out the benefits between the human-animal bond?
Right, exactly. And working with universities and other organizations around the country who were already doing research. So it was a really collaborative organization at that time. And then because there were so many people out in the field that were doing this informally, they were visiting with their animals informally, they felt that there should be national standards and protocols around that. And so many of those individuals or small groups in different areas around the country came to then Delta Society and asked that they pull together national standards and pull together their own training and evaluation program. And so 22 years later, here we are.
So those national standards, those were really developed for the research side of it, between the bonding.
The national standards were founded for the therapy animal program specifically.
Okay. Interesting. Well, so you pointed, and we want to talk about the therapy program for sure, but who do we have here?
This is Clover, and she's a rabbit, obviously, and she is also a therapy animal.
Oh, that's amazing. So many people wouldn't think of a rabbit as a therapy animal. Are there all different types of therapy animals?
There are. In fact, our organization is the only organization that registers all different species. So primarily we have dogs. We have 95% of our teams that are dogs, but then the other 5% consist of other species such as rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, llamas, horses.
So, and we kind of are all becoming aware of the fact that therapy animals really don't fall under the category of pets, so they can go anywhere, right?
Well, therapy animals are not service animals.
Okay.
So service animals have...
Maybe everybody but me then.
Actually, it's a common question. It is a common question. And we do have our Service Animal Resource Center here through our organization where we provide information around the laws, the ADA laws around service animals, and the difference between service animals and therapy animals. Because many people do think, a lot of times too, if you're visiting, many people do think, oh, this is a service animal, I can't touch your animal. So our handlers and our teams will educate people to say, no, this is a therapy animal. Therapy animals go to healthcare settings and other alternative settings to visit people to improve their health and to make them feel better.
I see. Right. So she's used to being around a lot of strangers.
She is.
And that just seems like it would be really tough to train a rabbit to be like that.
Right, a lot of people ask about that, especially with some of the other species, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people will say, so do you train her to sit, down, stay, come?
Yeah.
And actually you don't for other species. It's more really about the socialization and the handling, and they need to sit nicely on people's laps. As you can see, she does this very well.
Yes.
And they need to be okay with different sights and sounds and distractions, different smells. And it is harder on the other species than it is for dogs because dogs are more social in general. So dogs tend to, go out to different places and be more extroverted. But some of the other species like cats and rabbits, you need to do a lot of socialization.
Right. I'm so fascinated by the animals. We'll definitely get to pet partners in a minute, but so you have to do, are there special ways that you train animals like cats and rabbits and guinea pigs that are so jumpy and movie? That you train them so that they don't jump up? I mean, are there specific things you do?
Right. Well, as an organization, what we do is we train the handler how to work with their animal. And then many of our instructors and evaluators in the program will offer additional classes for training specific species.
I see.
So dog trainers, but also we have instructors and evaluators who are really skilled with other species like rabbits or cats or horses who will give specific handling sort of skills, tips. But really, it's expected that all the animals are calm and they're good-natured and they are comfortable being around a lot of people, different types of environments. And also it's expected that their handler is really in tune with them.
Oh.
And can read their body language and their stress signals and be able to be their best advocate.
Now, are therapy animals like this certified in some way after they've gone through and proven that they can be good in a crowd?
Right, so after they have gone through our course and then through an evaluation, it's a very rigorous 22-part team evaluation. Actually, Erin, it tests not only the animal, but it tests the person. So I have seen a lot of people go through and they're animal spectacular, but they haven't passed.
Oh, no.
Believe it or not. So we test both ends of the leash, the human and the animal, and then once they go through all of that, then they can become registered with our organization, and we provide insurance for them and provide them with a lot of different resources and help them get started with visiting.
Now, is it often that there are animals out there that aren't registered, that are thought of or introduced as therapy animals?
Yes, that can happen. A lot of times what you'll see is maybe a healthcare professional who's bringing their dog to work, such as a counselor, might be bringing their dog into work, and maybe their dog didn't go through this process. They're certainly welcome to do that if they would like. They have to have their own insurance to do that. We don't recommend that because we really feel that it's really important to screen the animals and the handlers to make sure this is an appropriate fit.
Well, I was wondering, and I'm asking this because I'm wondering, as a person who would go into, say, a counselor like you mentioned, would it be important for them to say, okay, I'm curious if your animal has been trained? Is that a question that people should be asking?
Sure, absolutely. Because the way that I look at it is that is their session, that's their treatment, that's their professional services that they are receiving. And actually my background before I worked here was that I was a counselor working with at-risk youth where I incorporated my animals. So many of my clients and families would ask those kinds of questions. It actually really helps them feel more at ease to know that the animal's been screened and has a registration with a national organization.
Right. Okay, well, so let's talk more about the organization.
Yes.
Off the animals, I'm so fascinated by it for now.
We all are.
I'm sure.
We all are. It's all about the animals.
So tell us more about the different programs that Pet Partners, that used to be Delta Society, so that we understand we're talking about the same thing. Mm-hmm. But what programs Pet Partners has now?
Sure, no problem. So we have 3 core programs as part of our organization. We have our service animal program, which is our service animal resource program, where we provide different resources on the website, and we also have a staff member who oversees inquiries that we get from individuals who are looking for a service animal, or they're looking for more information around the laws regarding service animals. We also have a service animal trainer directory where people can access how to find a trainer to help them train their own service animal.
So regarding the service animals, you don't train them?
That's correct. We don't train the service animals. We do work with another national organization where we place 1 service animal per year to an individual in a key area who may be in need of a service animal, because it can be quite expensive to train a service animal. So we do provide that as part of a grant.
Can you tell me what the trainer directory is for?
So on our website, we provide a directory of service animal trainers around the country, and those trainers are specific to different types of disabilities. So for instance, if someone is looking for a service animal because they have some sort of a physical disability or a hearing disability or something of that nature, then they can actually do a search on the website and find service animal trainers in their area who specialize in those areas.
Can you tell me about people who are looking to bring service animals into their family?
Well, that's a really great point. We do actually get a lot of those kinds of inquiries too, or we have people who can no longer keep their animal and they want to donate their animal to us. So many times people think that we are really an animal organization. Really, we are an organization that improves human health through service and therapy animals. So we're really about human health. But in regards to the companion animal program, what we do is we provide many research studies and access to different types of research around the country that has to do with the human-animal bond and the benefits around animal-assisted activities and therapy.
And how does this research benefit the community?
It's very beneficial because many times what we'll find is, especially this has become more and more the trend, is more people want to get involved in the human-animal bond, and they want to either incorporate it into their profession, or they're doing research or any sort of with regards to student projects or their thesis statement, they're doing it around the human-animal bond. Our country in general, the United States, is really become about the human-animal bond. So many people have pets. So what we're finding is people want to know really what are the benefits of that. And what we found is that your animal doesn't have to be a therapy animal to be able to provide benefits to you at home. I'm sure that you could say that, and I'm sure that anybody with an animal at home could say that their animal provides them with a lot of benefits on a daily basis.
Can you tell me more about how people can integrate animals into their work?
That's a great question. More and more we're finding that there's specific programs, either certificate programs or specific programs at different universities where individuals such as physical therapists or mental health therapists are able to get more of a specific degree or certificate around incorporating an animal into their professional discipline to help better benefit their clients. And what we found is that many times by incorporating another alternative therapy like an animal into your practice, it helps you be able to have your clients do more of what you want them to do. It helps your clients be more motivated to reach the goals of their treatment plan. Because a lot of times people will do more for animals than they will for their therapist.
I'd like to hear more about the benefits between a human-animal bond.
Oh, there's so many benefits. There's so many benefits. What we found, just a few off the top of my head, is that one, by petting an animal, petting a dog or a rabbit, actually increases the serotonin in your brain, the feel-good sort of chemicals in your brain. It also lowers your blood pressure and reduces your heart rate. It makes you calmer all the way around. So that's one thing that we found is really beneficial across the board. And it doesn't even have to be a therapy animal. It can be your own pet at home. We've also found that through some of our therapy animal programs that incorporate reading assistance dogs, there's actually been research studies that have been done where they've had a group of students who maybe have a learning disability or have difficulty reading aloud. They do sort of a pre-test of seeing how they do reading aloud and how they're doing with their reading in general, then bringing animals into it, mostly dogs, and having the child read aloud to a dog. And what they found is that those children's reading scores have gone up. So by even a couple grades. I mean, it's pretty amazing, some of the work that's been done out there. And there is a need for more and more research around not just the human-animal bond, but also around animal-assisted activities and therapy, so more and more people can understand that this is not just a feel-good thing. There's actually physiological benefits that people receive.
Do you get a lot of people that say, oh, that's not real?
Sure. Or a lot of people say, oh, yeah, that must be nice to pet a dog. Oh, yeah, they're so cute. But what does that really do? It's just fluff. We've heard that. And a lot of times the skeptics end up being, maybe a healthcare professional or someone who, say, is a doctor in a major hospital. So sometimes you just really have to win those people over by providing them with the research, but also they need to see it in action. A lot of times what we found is that by people seeing the impact that animals have on their clients in action, they get it immediately.
How does Pet Partners help people see this in action?
Well, we do that through our therapy animal program, where we have over 11,000 teams that do this work. When we say teams, we mean one person and one animal. So we have over 11,000 teams in all 50 states and other countries. Right, so that's really our vehicle to spreading the word and getting the information out there about the benefits and for people to see this in action.
Oh, now that's one program. What are some of the others?
So we have our service animal program, our companion animal program, which is our research program, and then we also have the therapy animal program, which is our biggest program. And that's really the program that we're known for. We are also known for our service animal resources and the history of our research, as we've talked about before. She's just checking things out. But our therapy animal program is really what we're known for because of the national standards that we created about 22 years ago, and because we're so widespread in so many facilities around the country. And also another unique component to our program is that we are the only national program of this nature that registers other species, other alternative species besides dogs or cats.
So what is the benefit of registering other species?
Well, there's many benefits to other species being in the program. For one, not everyone likes dogs. Hard to believe for those of us who are dog lovers, but some people have fear of dogs or phobias, or maybe they're allergic. Some people grow up with other species. And so, like, for instance, we have, clients that people will visit with their animal who maybe grew up on a farm. So they're more connected to some of the other alternative species like horses or chickens, and we do register chickens too, believe it or not. So a lot of times it's a nice alternative for people who connect more with a different species. What I have found in visiting with a rabbit, I've done a lot of visiting with her with senior citizens in nursing homes and assisted living centers. What I have found is it really helps the seniors have memory recall. So they think about their childhood. Many of them, their first animal, their first pet as a child was a rabbit. So really, by having a connection with the animals, it helps people to be able to have better connections with people.
In all of the research that Pet Partners has been doing, are there any moments where people just say, wow, I didn't expect that?
Well, we are currently working with another national organization on a research project specific to the benefit of therapy dogs working with children with cancer, specifically animal-assisted therapy. So very therapeutic goals that are set into place. So we're in the midst of working on that project. That's a really exciting project because based on what the outcomes are, that could be really huge for getting more and more the word out about how beneficial this is, especially, and I also visit with children at Seattle Children's Hospital with my dog. And what we found too is especially, children really can connect with animals when they're going through a terminal illness or some type of just major disorder that or an accident that took place or something of that nature. Their connection with animals can be that much more impactful. It's beneficial across the board, but for children who are dealing with life and death sort of circumstances, it's really beneficial, especially if they visit with animals who have similar stories. There's that connection that's made. Mm-hmm. So we're really looking forward to seeing the outcomes of this particular study that we partnered with. But like I've said before, we need more and more, to be involved in research and to have more research projects out there that we can collaborate with because this is just so beneficial.
How can we as a community help Pet Partners?
Well, we need funding. We need more funding for the organization, both for our therapy animal program, not just for the implementation of our services and continuing education for facilities and healthcare providers and volunteers, but also to help fund more research. We do have grants in place, but we need more and more of that. And also just to get excited and get involved in the human-animal bond. We're always looking for ways that people can help us in our organization with their different skill sets or connections to be able to get the word out there and help us be able to raise awareness.
I'm curious how many people you have working here at Pet Partners compared to how many volunteers you have.
It's a great question. So it's very interesting because many times people will call this is our main headquarters, people will call our main offices thinking that we have a huge staff or this is a satellite office. We only have 16 staff members for an international organization. So we're quite a small staff. So many staff wear different hats, and we also utilize in-house volunteers quite a bit to help us with a lot of things. Across the board, we have 11,000 volunteers. Over 11,000 actually volunteers that do this work with our staff we have 5 staff in the therapy animal program, and then we have 10 in-house volunteers in our therapy animal program.
So as an international organization, have you had any requests to register like really unusual animals?
Oh, yes. Some of the inquiries I received, just when I think I've heard it all, it's so funny. I had a woman contact me that wanted to register her bison as a therapy animal. And I had somebody else contact me who wanted to register their hermit crab. So we hear it all, and people will want to register exotic animals, and we don't register reptiles or exotic animals for infection control reasons and for just a lack of information around their consistent behavior. But it is funny because people will say, oh, I have this wonderful snake, or I have this wonderful another one I got was a flying squirrel. And so it is funny because people really I think it's wonderful that people see the benefits in their own animals. And so that's what we try to promote is, well, we don't register these other species and this is why, but this sounds like this animal is a wonderful companion to you. And what are some other things that you can do to give back to your community with your animal?
So what are those?
Well, the woman who contacted me with the bison was giving back by just going around her community. She lived in a small town in the Midwest, going around her community and having her bison go and meet people. She went to the post office with him. They were in parades. He was a well-known celebrity in the town that she lived in. And so people just learned more about bison and bison behavior, and it helped them to think outside the box of what things they could do with their animals. So she probably inspired quite a few people to think outside the box about other species.
So can you tell us about, hello.
Hello.
Clover?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
She says, pet me, please.
I love her whiskers. They're so adorable.
Aren't they long?
They look
little
they're so
antennas.
cute. Can you share with us some experiences that you've gone through in your time here doing therapy training, or even going out as an animal therapist?
Well, a therapy animal handler.
Thank you.
Yes, but many people say animal therapist, so it's not outside the realm.
I can see how that doesn't quite work, but yes.
Because it sounds like you're giving therapy to the animal.
Yes, when really they're doing it for us.
Right, exactly. You've got it. Well, I've just had many experiences, not only as a staff member working for Pet Partners, but as a longtime volunteer with the organization. I've been a longtime volunteer with the organization with 4 of my animals, 3 dogs and Clover. And there's so many experiences that really stand out to me in my work with, clients at Bailey Boucher House, which is a residence in Seattle for individuals who are coping with AIDS and other life-threatening illnesses, as well as my work at Seattle Children's Hospital with one of my dogs, and then my work in the schools working with at-risk youth. So there's been over the years a lot of experiences, but one in particular that really stands out to me is something that's happened more recently. About 5 months ago, I was on just a normal visit at Bailey Boucher House with my dog Mia, who's a Bassador.
Oh, a Basset.
A Bassador, Basset Lab. And
I call mine a blab.
Oh, well, what's so funny about that is that I say she's a blab when she's bossy, and I say she's bossy almost all the time, so it's perfect.
Oh, but we get off topic.
Yes,
So
well,
your time at
Yes. So we went in for just a normal visit. We visit there weekly. And we went to go visit with a resident who, it was our first visit with him. Mm-hmm. He was undergoing chemotherapy for lymphoma, and he loves dogs. We were his first therapy dog visit. He was so excited. We came in and spent some time with him. He petted her. And as he was petting her, and I was also petting her at the same time, he found, at the same time as I did, lumps on her neck.
Oh.
Very hard lumps, too, like identically placed. And I remember thinking to myself, this seems different, because as you know, as you have a dog that's aging, they get lumps and bumps.
Yeah.
You know, and cysts and that kind of thing. But he was petting her, and he was talking about his treatments and talking about his lymphoma, and he noticed the bumps, and I noticed the bumps, and then we had a wonderful visit. I said, okay, we'll see you next time we come in. We left, and I decided to get my dog into the veterinarian immediately. And so the next day we went into the veterinarian, and she ran tests and found that my dog had a lymphoma as well. And we had gotten it diagnosed pretty quickly. So what was really powerful to me about that was that we were visiting with a man with lymphoma who was really benefiting from a visit with my dog. And my dog had the same condition as him, and I didn't even know at the time.
Right. And that's very therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic for them, and quite frankly, it's therapeutic for me. So it's really a powerful way to give back a story of healing on both sides. And hello, are you making yourself known? And when we returned to visiting, when she went to remission and we returned to visiting, we were able to go back to visiting with a woman who had been undergoing chemotherapy for her cancer for a number of years. She started to really decline. Mm-hmm. And Mia would get up in bed with her and lay with her. And she would just cry and talk about her cancer and be so grateful to have this visit. And we just would look forward to that every single week. And her husband would sometimes join us. And so Mia would lay with her. She knew Mia was undergoing the same kinds of treatments she was undergoing. And it was just such an honor to be at the other end of the leash and to be able to witness this interaction, how healing this was.
It's really great to hear stories like this, to see really the benefits that Pet Partner does. Thank you so much for your time here.
Thank you. She says, and thank you.
Mia and I have been working out some issues on today's show. She doesn't necessarily like to co-host, so I've had to bribe her. But thank you so much for watching and finding out more about Pet Partners. Thank you, Mia, for sharing your time. Would you like this cookie? There you go. We'll see you next time.